Tanks are here. It's been a while since I had to dry those. With the aquariums finally here, we're about to move into hyperdrive. No, obviously they're just kind of sitting out here right beside, out front of the gallery. And I started to unbox them. There's 10 total. And I just kind of wanted to get a layout and the look of the tank, see what we're going to be working with here. It looks to me like these came out to be 1/2-inch glass, which is going to make them incredibly heavy, and I'm happy. So I'm going to need help carrying these in. You can see the bracing system too is just absolutely enormous. Now the benefit to this is that I don't need much of a lid to cover them, but I'm going to show you what we're going to be doing for lids as well, because not only are we building the racking system, we're going to do the lids, I'm going to build the filtration, we're going to actually build all the lights as well. And I mean every light in the aquarium gallery, I have a plan. I just got to wait for materials to come. Anyways, how I'm going to get these in here once we unbox them, I'm just taking them and they're going right through that window. I'm not messing going down that alley. I'm not coming around the 700. It's just too much. I could pop this open and the racking systems are right here. Now those tanks came from Concept Aquariums here in Canada, and I decided I'd go with them simply because, well, I wanted to promote a Canadian company, but I bought them from them also because that's where the 700 came from as well. That's currently housing the freshwater stingrays. These guys are gonna get this all alone. There is a Bisher in here right now. But he's going to be coming out. There's no lights on this tank because, like I said, I got to build all new lights. The 2000's getting a new light. I'm building lights. All the 180s that are outside are coming in here, and we're going to build new lights for them. These guys are going over onto that racking system. There's so many things I got to update you guys on. Oh, remember that last video, or one of the last videos we just did? It was a 40-gallon. Well, it's all cleared up now, and man, this looks absolutely phenomenal. I kind of like how the background is like darkened out. Of course, we can move the lights back like I showed you in that video and maybe kind of like angle it like that so it gives it more dimension, but we're going to be putting shell dwellers in that, so this will be incredibly interesting once done. I also went ahead and added in backgrounds to the other ones, and that's pretty much it. These guys will have 3D backgrounds and the 120s will have 3D backgrounds, but when it comes to the 180s that we're putting here, all of those, we're going to paint them black or blue or something like that. Anyways, I also finished the 120-gallon filters. I ended up wanting to add in a bracing system just in case they start to bow a little bit, and 6mm will bow out, even though it's only 6 inches tall. It could still bow. And then, of course, we took some double wall polycarbonate panels. I've shown you guys this before, how I built lids. And we're going to cover these up entirely and completely. And these go ahead and just sit on the backs of the 120s, just like that one we built previously. Just give it a shot. That one's actually working really well on that saltwater tank, but now we're gonna have something incredibly sexy. Now, I had to wait for the 180-gallon tanks to get here for a number of reasons. One, I wanted to time everything because, well, I'm going to be moving the 120s, and all the fish have to be temporarily stored in places, and I don't want to, like, temporarily put them anywhere for too long. Basically want to be able to make this a smooth transition. I also wanted to make sure that, you know, we cut up the acrylic lids properly, so this still has its protective wrap on it, but I'll give you an idea of what it's going to look like. I hope I cut them right, and I only did it the other day. Maybe I shouldn't film this part until I confirm. Screw it, let's do it. Yeah, that's fine. So, this fits on there perfectly. Now, obviously, I still need to cut it and, you know, put like a little finger hole in it so we can lift it up. But look, I don't need the lids to cover this part. I just need them to kind of come to here. Filtration system's actually going to go right through the sides of it. This is going to be so cool when I'm done. But all of them are getting new lids. And I don't think I talked about this, but one of my biggest missions for the aquarium gallery this time around is to focus on air quality out here, because a lot of these glass lids and whatnot have gaps in them. You know, water's evaporating. I even replaced the 2000s top. I never talked about that yet. Never really even showed it yet. But also did it over here for the 700. And this is what I'm talking about when I say it's like big pieces. All you do is cut a hole, bam. Now, these are a little bit more snug, no evaporations coming out, and you can even see it over here. And this is how you know they're working really well, is there's condensation on them, meaning that, you know, it's not condensating everywhere, so there is plenty of oxygen exchange. But when I had the previous corrugated lids on there, they, you know, the greenhouse roofing panels that I showed you guys how to use for years, there was never any evaporation on it. I mean, they weren't that efficient. Now, If you're wondering if I'm just starting to use these, I'm giving you a review. No, I've been using these. Look, the lids on the 375 that we built like 5 years ago, 6 years ago, I've been using those lids. So that's gonna help with evaporation out here. I finally got my air exchanger working really well again. It'll cycle the air out here 6 times an hour. And if you also look in the corners and everywhere in the building, there's these fans circulating the air out here, basically treating this entire building like an aquarium. I have a filtration system for the air. It's a heat recovery ventilator. I've also got wave makers out here to circulate the water, which is the fans, etc. So this has kind of been really interesting. Oh, you know what? You guys are gonna laugh. So I hate when somebody just walks in the gallery. Like I'll have a buddy come over or Tamara will come out and I might be filming or I might be doing something where I just want to be left alone. This is my zen area. So, okay, see this thing? I have a doorbell out here now. So anyways, the plan today is very simple. I gotta drain all these tanks, move the fish. I'll probably put them in buckets for now until I can get a tank moved over there, and then I can put the fish in there temporarily, connect the filters. I'm not gonna escape them, I'm not gonna put backgrounds, I'm not gonna do anything just yet. Once that's done, I also wanna make sure that I can reuse as much of this rack as I can. Most likely to be able to use the plywood and some of the 2x6s, but the dimensions of the new racking system is gonna be much bigger. However, I wanted to wait until the tanks were here to get an absolute guaranteed idea of how everything's going to look and the dimensions, etc. So once these guys are all moved today, I got to rip this entire racking system down, try to reuse what I can, and then build an entire new double rack for the 180s to sit on top of each other, one on top of the other. If you're curious about the height of them, it's going to be the same height as the 120s, the 40s, and the 375. All of this will be symmetrical. And once the tanks are in place and that rack's built, I'm gonna wrap the entire building with those leaves there. You guys love that idea, and I think it's gonna look absolutely phenomenal out here. I think it's gonna be like more lush. You know, I'm adding plants out here. I want to walk into this and know that like it feels like I'm in a different part of the world, yet it's right in my backyard, and it's right on your phone, or it's right on your computer, or however you watch me. Odds are you're probably looking at me on a phone. But yeah, on the topic of making the air quality out here a lot better, it's night and day right now. For example, that 2000 was gassing off, or so much water was evaporating from it, as well as the 700. I know you guys always ask me about what these are as well. These are just like little, oh, and the next thing I want to do is make this place energy efficient. The power bill out here is enormous, and I'm gonna try to use less equipment, less energy, etc. But you guys will see that in the long run. So anyways, yeah, I put my food in these containers. This one says salt, so that's saltwater food. This one says fresh, although I can tell the difference. And if you look at it, if you look at any of them, you'll notice that it's a mixture of different types of pellets and dry foods and whatnot. I mean, they still get a variety of frozen foods and whatnot, but when it comes to feeding them, I'm not messing with all these little baggies and little containers. I'm dumping it all into these, and then I pop the lid and just sprinkle it in. They'll eat as much as they want. This allows me to feed everybody in the tank a variety of different foods that they'll all eat. Makes feeding everybody so much easier too. And this freshwater mix is good for most of the fish out here that are relatively smaller. Look at this is just a lot of fish. And again, I can't be out. I feed so many foods and go through so much that, you know, this might last a week, 2 weeks maybe. Depends on how often I feed. Lately, now with all these moves coming up and so much going on, I've just been feeding once a day, which is perfectly fine. This tank is so awesome to feed. A lot of people ask about the discus and the pleco. I mean, not everybody comes out every time I point the camera at it, but oh, there's a discus right in the back right there. Boop. The pleco, you can see his spots right there. But yeah, everybody's in here. There's nothing going on with this tank. That's besides the camera is always blowing it out. That's a little bit better. Give him some more. Yeah, so I like to do this. This is one of my favorite things to do. Obviously, it's everybody's favorite thing to do. Sprinkle it throughout the entire tank, and this gives everybody an opportunity to eat something. I mean, the Corydoras and the Otocinclus, everybody's going to be going down at the bottom, and I want it to kind of spread everywhere, although if I don't turn off the pumps or anything, it has a tendency to go all into this area, which is fine. It lets them pick at it and gives fish more of a chance at getting it and whatnot, so we'll see what happens long term. But you know, the Corydora, every fish that was added in here is doing really, really well. I don't blame the discus for hiding behind the tree constantly, but you know, it is what it is. They have a tendency to do that. It's going to take them a lot more time to get comfortable in here, unless I add in another 10 or 20 of them, which is probably the only fish that I consider doing. I mean, otherwise we have so much in here. Anyways, yeah, if you have a ton of fish to feed or a fish room, or, you know, just have a few aquariums and you just want to simplify things, streamline things, get a little container, write on the top what it's for, add a mixture of different foods in there. There's like 4 different brands and different types of food in here that's going to target, you know, carnivores and herbivores, gives them a little bit of everything, gives them a really varied diet. And I don't feel guilty for forgetting what I gave them the day before. Or have I fed them the same thing all week? They might want something. This is easy. Just dump it in and you're good to go. So when I move everybody over here, we have the salt water down there, 120 here, 120 there, 120 there. I'm gonna have to make these 3 freshwater because these guys are gonna have to go in a 120 for the time being. The piranha might be able to fit in a 40, I'm not sure. Temporarily, these guys all gotta go in a 120 and these guys gotta go in a 120. I mean, I even gotta clean the tanks. Look at the algae I allowed to like just build up. And I don't care because water quality is like perfect. There's no trace of nitrates, ammonia. There might be a little bit of nitrate, but certainly no ammonia, certainly no nitrite, but the water's clear and the fish are doing absolutely fantastic. I can't wait to get these guys in a 180 with Tyrese, the Fahaka puffer. He's going in it. And then the Beischer and the 700's going in it as well. And then that'll be a tank. And the stock or the skate for this, I already have a good idea. I already know exactly what I want to do, kind of, sort of. If you've been following me for a while and you watch that goldfish tank build, the one in the wall, it'll be very similar to that. I love that skate, by the way. It was just a pile of rocks in the center, but it was gorgeous. It was perfect. It was simple. It didn't take away from the fish, and that's kind of the idea of what I'm going to go with the Oscar aquarium. Something that they can't destroy overnight. That's something that's simple and easy to set up. But we'll see what happens over time. I might even give them some of the Anubias in here because I have so much of it. But yeah, the Arowana's doing fine. Everybody's doing fine out here. That's enough for this video, guys. I gotta really get to work here. I got some buddies coming over to help me move these tanks and just put them right there. I'm only gonna be able to put 2 there. But what I'll do with the other 2, probably turn them into filters or store them with a bunch of the other tanks that are stored. But if you're not subscribed to this channel yet and you want to see everything I've been talking about, you know, building the lights, building the filtration, moving the tanks, setting up new fish tanks, etc., 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 make sure you're subscribed if you're not already. Sorry for rushing this video. I'm feeling a little overwhelmed today, and I got a lot to do. So do me a favor, click the like button, show me some love, encourage me to upload even more and more and more, because I'm thinking like there's so many videos we got to do that I might have to go back to doing them daily for the time being, because I thought like there's so many different types of videos and I don't want to string them out over 2-3 weeks, because that'll be like months ahead and it just won't make sense and I won't be able to keep any secrets, because I always go on Instagram and show everybody everything. I ruin everything, literally. So, if you're not following me on Instagram and you want me to ruin everything, go ahead and follow me there as well. Link is in the description. Anyways, hit the like button. If you're not subscribed, make sure you are already. That's enough rambling. I'll see you in the next video.